Welcome. Myself Rutudi Patel, lecturer in chemistry at Parul Institute of Engineering and Technology, welcomes you all to the active learning video session on chemistry. In this session, we will be continuing water treatment chapter number 4 that is covered in Diploma GTU syllabus. Let us try to proceed ahead and see what were the factors that were responsible for the hardness of the water. We have seen here that calcium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate were responsible for the hardness of the water. Now today we will be seeing that how this molecular weight is coming, how these numbers are coming, that we will be calculating it here, and how they are found out to be the final result. Like for example, suppose if you are taking here, that is calcium hydroxide CaHCO3 twice. So what you can do here is, first you will try to add up simple atoms, that is calcium plus 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 6 times oxygen. First we will try to simplify the equation like this. Now what we will do is, we are knowing the atomic number of each of the elements, so we will simply double the things and we will get the final answer. That is, suppose calcium is having atomic number of the 20, so we will write here double. Okay, we will put into 2 into 1 plus 2 into carbon is having 6 numbers, so that will be becoming 12. Okay, so this will be kept here 6 into oxygen is having 8 number, so you will put here 16. The number that you will final land up is 162 gram per mole. So we have seen here the molecular weight of calcium bicarbonate is coming out to be 162. It's not just a magic number, but it is coming out by a logic concept. That is, you can see here that we have taken calcium plus 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 6 times oxygen. Okay, so after that we have simply substituted the molecular weight of each of the atom and we have landed up with the final number, that is 162 gram per mole. Similarly, we will proceed ahead with the different salt, that is magnesium bicarbonate. Now how to calculate the salt for the magnesium bicarbonate? We have seen it is 146 is the number for magnesium bicarbonate. So you can see here, first we will do the formula writing. Okay, so that is MgHCO3 twice. Clear? After that what we will do, we will write here Mg, okay, plus 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 6. You can see here very clearly 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 3 to the 6 times oxygen. Okay, this one has to see. After that what we will do, magnesium is having atomic number of the 12, so we will simply write here as a 24. Okay, then we will write here 2 into 1, then we will put here 2 into 12, then we'll put here 6 into 16. This one has to remember. So the final number that is coming out to be 146 gram per mole. So we can see here very clearly that how the salt formula is calculated. 146 number that we are getting it in the final form is coming from this. These things has to be calculated whenever we try to calculate the numericals. Okay, so we will take up magnesium first, then we will see, we will split this bracket. We are having 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 6 times oxygen. Okay, then what we'll do, we'll put simply here 24 plus 2 into 1 plus 2 into 12 plus 6 into 16, that is 146 gram per mole. That is the final formula, or you can say final molecular weight for magnesium bicarbonate. Then we will try to calculate for calcium chloride. It may be 111 or it may be 110. That depends on how we are calculating. You can see here for calcium chloride salt, that is, first we will write down the formula. Okay, then we'll put here calcium plus 2 times chlorine. Okay, so this one has to remember. Now calcium, we are aware that it is having 40. Okay, and chlorine, it is having actually 35.5. Clear? So we have to remember this. And the final figure, if you are trying to calculate it, then it is going to come out to be 111. Okay, that is gram per mole. Or you can say, you can calculate it very clearly that it may come out to be 110, then also it is correct answer. Similarly, the next salt that we are going to select is our magnesium chloride. We can write the formula first, MgCl2. Okay, this magnesium chloride, then again we'll split the things. We'll write here Mg plus 2 times Cl. Okay, so we'll write here very clearly, magnesium is having 24. Okay, plus 2 into 35.5. So finally we can end up with 95 gram per mole. This one has to remember. Okay, magnesium chloride is 95 gram per mole. That is the final answer that we are going to get. Now we'll see here. Similarly, the salt formula for calcium sulfate. If you see here calcium sulfate, then you can find here you have calcium, okay, plus SO4. Clear? Then what you can do here, you can split the things. Calcium plus sulfur plus 4 times oxygen. Okay, so this will be turn out to be 40 plus sulfur is having atomic number of 16, so this will be having double 32. Then you have 4 into 16. So the final figure that we are going to get here is basically 136 gram per mole. Okay, this is the final answer that we are going to get about calcium sulfate. Okay, then we have magnesium sulfate here, that is MgSO4. This MgSO4 you can find here, Mg is there plus sulfur plus 4 times oxygen. Okay, then what you can do here, magnesium again having 24 plus sulfur, you can see here 16 is their number, so you can write here directly 32 plus 4 into, you can calculate here 16. So final number that you are going to get is 120 gram per mole. This is the molecular weight for the magnesium sulfate. Okay, so it is very simple to calculate these numbers. As far as the numerical is concerned, you don't have to mug up the things. Molecular weight has to be calculated systematically so that your answer goes right in the session. You can see here all the salts. We have seen for the calcium sulfate here that calcium plus sulfur plus 4 times oxygen will split up the salt. Then we will simply put up the molecular weights of each of them. That means you are doubling the atomic number and you will end up with 136 gram per mole. Similarly for the salt, you can see magnesium chloride here, magnesium plus 2 times chlorine, that is going to give 24 plus 2 into 35.5, that is 95 gram per mole. Okay, you can see here calcium chloride, that is calcium plus 2 times chlorine. So chlorine is having 35.5, so you can write here very clearly 40 plus 2 into 35.5, which is equal to 111 gram per mole. Finally, you can see here magnesium bicarbonate, that is magnesium plus 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 6 times oxygen. Okay, so that you can find here 24 plus 2 into 1 plus 2 into 12 plus 6 into 16. So we'll end up here with 146 gram per mole. Okay, then we can see here very clearly that we have calculated for calcium bicarbonate, that is calcium plus 2 times hydrogen plus 2 times carbon plus 6 times oxygen. So calcium is having 40, then we are having for 2 into 1 plus carbon 12, so 2 into 12 plus 6 into 16. So it will end up with 162 gram per mole final of calcium bicarbonate. Okay, so this one has to remember. Now let us try to proceed ahead. We have seen in the session that these are the salts that were responsible for the hardness of the water. So in that, bicarbonate salts are basically responsible for giving the temporary hardness to the water, and you can say chloride and sulfate salts are responsible for giving permanent hardness to the water. Okay, so that we have seen. Now we have also seen here the degree Clark, that was defined as number of parts by weight of calcium carbonate present in 70,000 parts by weight of the water. We have seen here number of parts by weight of calcium carbonate present in 1 lakh parts by weight of the water. Then we have seen as number of parts by weight of calcium carbonate per million parts by weight of water. Okay, this one has to remember. So we have also seen here the relation. Whenever we are trying to derive any formula, the numerical is always tasked in 3 types of units, either ppm or French or Clark, or a simple objective may be asked that what is 1 ppm equal to dash Clark. So there the answer comes out to be 0.07 degree Clark. This one has to remember. Okay, so we will be now moving on to the next, that was continuing of the session. We can see here very clearly that we were trying to understand the ion exchange process. Okay, what is this ion exchange process, that we will take here now in the next thing. That is, this ion exchange process will consist of basically 2 towers, that is cation exchanger resins and anion exchanger resins. Okay, these cation exchanger resins are capable of exchanging cations of the hard water by H plus ions. This one has to remember. And the same thing that we can see here clearly, we have also understood the diagram. Look here, what is there in the ion exchange tower? We are having 2 cylindrical towers. Okay, one is cation exchange bed, or you can say cation exchange resin, and another is anion exchange resin. Okay, now what happens to the water whenever you take your water? Your hard water is passed through the first bed, that is cation exchange bed. So what happens here? Try to understand it. The cation exchanger resin, that is the first tower, is capable of exchanging cations of the hard water by H plus ions. Okay, this one has to remember. So this we have to understand that cation exchanger resins is functioning to exchange H plus ions. Okay, similarly you can see here anion exchanger resin, that is second tower, is capable of exchanging the hard water by your OH minus ions. Okay, this one has to remember. Now suppose if you are trying to carry out this process, then what happens inside the tower, that we are trying to understand. Let us try to understand the first reaction in the tower. That is, look here, suppose there is an ion exchange process, and in the first tower, that is cation exchanger, what is going to happen? You are passing your hard water. Okay, so whenever the hard water is passed, then you have a calcium and magnesium present in the hard water. So you have RH2 plus calcium plus 2, that is going to give calcium R. That means your calcium and magnesium ions are going to retain on the surface of your cation exchanger resins. Okay, similarly if you see here, RH2 plus Mg plus 2 is going to give magnesium R, that means magnesium ion is going to retain on the cation exchanger bed. In the whole process, if you see here, H plus ions are going to come out. This shows that whatever water that is coming out finally is going to become acidic in nature. Okay, so that acidic water is going to be harmful. We cannot use it directly. That's why we need to pass it through the second tower. That is basically, if you see here in the diagram, that is, you can see clearly here, anion exchange resin bed is there. Okay, so the whatever acidic water is coming out after final treatment, that he has to be passed through anion exchange bed. Okay, so now let us try to understand what is the process that is happening in the second bed. See here, you can look here, reaction taking place in the second tower. Okay, now if you see very clearly, what was there? You were having in the first case, that is in the first tower, if you see very clearly, the things that were acidic water was coming out at the end of the first tower process. Okay, reaction coming out here, H plus is there, it means water is acidic, that is low pH water. Now we are treating this acidic water. Okay, so for this reason we are taking the reactions in the second tower. Look here, second tower is consisting of anion exchange resins. It means what? What is anion? Your OH minus are going to replace the things. Okay, so OH minus ions are anions. If you see here in the definition in the slide itself, you can see here, anion exchanger resins are capable of exchanging anions of hard water by OH minus ions. Okay, this one has to understand. So anion exchanger resins is going to actually exchange the OH minus ions. This is what is happening. Anions, what are the anions? First of all, try to understand. Anions are negatively charged ions, like you have chlorides, you have sulfates.